So, you know, chances are 50% of you out there have a house with this wiring in it. It's called knob and tube, and most of you people know what it is. Um, well, just for a little info, knob and tube was used in the early 1920s, 30s, 40s, up until they say 1950s, but that's wrong. I mean, there's places like in the Cleveland eastern suburbs where some areas had it up until 1978. So it's still there. Now, Navid 2 basically, it only has two wires, hot and neutral. There's no third wire, no ground, okay? And, one was white and one was black, and they would separate it. And the tubes, the knobs were these little ceramic things. They would drill holes and put these ceramic things in it and run the wires through. Another thing is with these, and we'll get into why I'm making this video in a second, but they didn't have junction boxes, okay? So basically they would just, splice them and put a twisty on them, okay? And we know that didn't have a ground wire and that insulation. Now they never talk about it, but that insulation is probably asbestos. But it's so little, it's in the walls, it's sure it becomes friable. Now what happens though? I've noticed this, and this is a problem, and a lot of times you won't see the problem. And when you hear about fires and things like that, it's because of crazy problems that happen. Maybe not just because it's knob and tube, but other things. So mice will chew that material, okay, because they use it for their nests. And so, they like that material. So, if a mouse is up in the attic, because that's, by the way, your attics are all full of mice because that's where they hang out. And mice, the real problem with mice is that they, all their paths and their little tunnels they make are all full of urine because that's what they do. They run and they drop urine along their paths. But the problem is that they also make little mouse houses and huts, whatever you want to call them. And they will sometimes use the insulation for this. And that's a problem because now you've got exposed wire, and yes, that can cause issues. So the insulation gets brittle, it breaks after a while, okay, and you can't really fix it. So you basically want to get rid of it. The problem that we have today with it is that there's a big stigmatism on it. Additionally, a lot of insurance companies will ask you, "Do you have knob and tube?" And if you tell them, "Yeah, my inspector said I have knob and tube," guess what? You're not going to get that insurance. A lot of times, what people do to get away with that is they'll say, "Oh, my inspector said I have ground GFIs in the bathrooms, and it's a 100 amp service, and there's a new electrical box." And then insurance knows to shut up, and because they want to insure the house. But sometimes they won't if you've got this stuff in there, and you really can't fix it. I know that Canadians that come down that I hire to do home inspections with, I know at least the only two deals that went down the tubes because of knob and tube in my history of doing this for almost 40 years. And well, I've had it go down more, but recently that I can remember were just Canadian people, and they would call their Canadian insurance companies, and they would read my report to them, and they're like, "Oh, I can't buy this house; it is not been tube." And so, yeah, I had two cases like that, and they were both people from Canada. So it does become brittle, it becomes damaged, and then the other problem is it's too easy. People will just tap into it. So, like if they want to add a light downstairs, at the workstation, they'll just tap into this thing here and pigtail in the neutral, pigtail, and then I'll just like wrap up the ground and get rid of it, and they'll get power right off of that. So that's another issue. And also the fuse boxes back then, there would be two fuses, okay, two fuse circuits, okay, and so most of the boxes have been changed. The Basically, when you want to remodel, probably your best bet is to replace it. So, in a nutshell, it's good. It's good as long as the mice don't get to it. Another thing they tell you can't do is you can't tap into it, you can't splice into it. You're not supposed to insulate it because they say, oh, the insulation heats it up. But you know what? I don't see houses burning down all day long because of that. But I'm not saying, you know, they don't. But so it is older. It is knob and tube. Most cities, older cities, have it, unless the whole house was completely rehabbed. A lot of times people rehab house and they say got all new electrical. If they didn't take out all the put in all new drywall, then they didn't do all the electrical. Anyways, I do have a few services. If you have any house problems, you just Google call Marko Marko with a question, and generally I could help you out with any house problem you might have, or maybe you want me to read something, or you want another opinion. I believe it's $29. You get like 20 minutes. Also, you can join my Patreon, and then you could accumulate credits. So if you ever did need a question solved, or you want to call me for something on a house, or you want me to review a waterproofing estimate, or you want to make a complaint, you need a report. I mean, we could add up credits too. So I do have a Patreon account, MarkoVovk, and I have multiple tiers. I have some. I also have um, some merch that I have in here, and I have a few links for Amazon. I am affiliate, so there may be some products I have down below that you could click on. So please rate, subscribe, ring the bell too. The bell up there. I hope there's a bell there, and that'll let you know when my next videos come up. I mix up videos now, so it's not just houses. I like to throw in some world stuff and some fun stuff, but it won't just be complete home inspection issues. Anyways, hey, thanks for coming on. Please rate, subscribe, ring the bell, and check out some of the links below.